Hello and welcome to this edition of Business Spotlight. I'm delighted to have a very special guest today with us, Sabine Vanderlinden. Hi, Sabine.
Hi, Reza. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Sabine. Sabine heads a company called AlchemyCrew Ventures. I actually let you, Sabine, tell us a little bit more about what it is that you do and kind of your speciality in this area,
Sure. So
please.
yes, I run AlchemyCrew Ventures. So AlchemyCrew is what we call a venture lab. Venturing means that we work with Fortune 500 big insurance companies. My trade is insurance and finance, so insurtech, fintech, and we help them either work around what we call R&D projects. I know R&D in finance is question mark, but yes, insurers and banks do R&D, which is really about looking at the future and looking at what trends are going to impact their business models. And then we also develop what we call adoption blueprints, which are a way for corporates to learn how to industrialize and democratize the way they work with startup, growth ventures, scale-ups, and embed them into their operation. So that is what we do mostly. So the outcome would be partnership and investment, like any venturing or outfit. But then one big part of the go-to-market strategy is a lot of those brands want to use my brand as I'm what we call, a tech ambassador, fintech influencer. And I work again with big brands, which are not only insurance brands, mostly technology brands, who actually wants to be able to have their brand exposed to different markets, finance, insurance being one of them, and actually talked about in a much more authentic, credible, and authoritative way.
Wow, wow, great. And so, what got you started in this journey? What inspired you to start this business and this particular venture, if you don't mind sharing with us?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, 25 years working for big corporations, the like of IBM, PwC, FICO, Pega. So I work with major companies probably for 20 years of my life.
Okay.
And one day, a group of, famous investors reached out and said, Sabine, you have already done a lot for corporations. It's your time to give back. They said, you have to give back to younger generation. And so I started 8 years ago, my foray into venturing, first starting my understanding of what the fintech world meant, what technology startups were about when, as we know, 7, 8 years ago, it was at the top of its trade. And gradually, I realized the same problem which affect banks would actually affect insurance companies. And so in 2016, set up my company, started working with corporations, institutions, I would say more associations that were aiming to drive innovation and transformation within the industry. So I was one of the first person going in what we call insurance technology, insurtech, alongside fintech, and building relationships and helping my industry understand how technology was going to disrupt them. So work for a very well-known acceleration program, which I grew to becoming one of the leading acceleration program in Europe called Startup Bootcamp. I did the same in the United States. And just before COVID, I just decided I just wanted to do it for myself. And so set up AlchemyCrew using very similar method as the acceleration model and a VC model combined together do, which is about enabling young ventures to work with corporates. So once they can work with corporates, then they are seen as valid ventures for investment. And then we can introduce them to VC. So I built very significant network in the VC world and the corporate world. And yeah, my trade is not just do blue sky innovation. My trade is to actually do blue sky innovation and understand how startups can actually accelerate the ability for corporates to reinvent themselves.
So,
So that's my path.
okay, thank you for sharing that. And we know starting businesses and ventures aren't easy, especially in the early days. What challenges did you face when you first started, or did you face any challenges?
I think when you set up a business, you just need to make sure you work with people you trust and who have the same values. I think often founders come into building initiative with mates, with friends, and I've done the same. And then when you start working with your mates, you just realize maybe you don't have the same business values. So some of the mistakes I've done is probably not do enough due diligence around some of the people I wanted to associate myself with. They may have great names, but they may have very different values to mine,
Sure.
business ethic to mine, and really understanding what venturing is about, right? Venturing is about, founders coming together and actually putting their weight against the company, not just sitting and doing nothing and expecting the checks to come in. So once you actually identify that the co-founders are not really the same path, I think when you set up a venture, you really need to understand what you are doing and understand all the processes. So time is precious, but when you build a venture and when you had big teams doing the work for you, you need actually to really spend some time really understanding what your business is about and what processes are about so that you can actually understand where something wrong happens, even when you have a team. And the last one is people. At the end of the day, we are going into a phase of work where I think finding talent is very, very hard. So being demanding, understanding, how to build your employee playbook and how to recruit people, but also actually how to identify talent and actually get rid of people who are not at par with the world of venturing, which are, let's say, more employee and should be actually working for a big corporates. You have to identify them very early on and give them a chance to actually adapt and actually adjust their choices and go and work for big corporates, because an employee mentality is very different from a founder mentality or doer mentality. You have to hustle and you actually have to answer questions. Sitting back and waiting for things to happen do not work in small enterprises. So for me, the three challenges and lesson is, learning to identify your right partners, your right co-founders. Second is, time is precious. And so really understanding how to allocate your time and really understand what your business is about, and allocating the right resources to the process is key, but you need to understand what those are. And lastly, talent, identifying the right people as being challenges, which I think affect right now many businesses simply because talent is not there.
Absolutely. And was there a significant turning point in your path, in your journey, that actually accelerated you to where you are right now, or anything that you could put your hands on and say, okay, because of that point, actually the business accelerated or moved forward? Is there anything that you can think
Well,
of?
for me, working in industry now for 25 years, I've been in the UK for 30 years. I have to say, at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. So building the relationship I built for 25 years has got me where I am today. People know me. Everybody knows me in my industry. But I think one of the key turning point is understanding that you cannot be known by everybody by just sitting in the back room. And I know we are working in a remote working space, that now everybody's working from home. But in addition to that, we need to be more visible. And so I think one of the turning points, which actually I've been understanding now probably for 7-8 years, is that one needs to be visible. So leveraging social media, using what I call attention hacking techniques has helped me a lot be in front and top of mind of my audience. And so I don't have to call often people. They usually call me.
Okay. That's great. And in addition to obviously having those relationships and maintaining those relationships, is there anything else that you would class as your competitive edge, and how do you maintain that? What is it that keeps you stay ahead of the curve, so to speak?
For me, there are three.
Mm-hmm.
Authenticity. People know
Mm-hmm.
me and they get what they see.
Mm-hmm.
Credibility. I write a lot. I've written a book. I've written over 100 articles. So ChatGPT loves me because ChatGPT knows me very well. I'm visible. I'm a public figure. So credibility is second. And third is authority. I spend a lot of time building my personal brand. And so in my industry, I'm known, but what I say usually is listened to. So I think finding, what makes a business or individual special for an industry will be very unique to every single individuals, right? In my case, I live and work in a knowledge industry. And so knowing what I talk about, reading a lot, really repurposing the information I capture from my industry is what makes me special, because I help people save time because they don't have to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So providing that insight. That's great. And you mentioned early on regarding, you talked about, the challenges around hiring the right people and having the right employees. And you mentioned about the employee mentality versus the entrepreneur mentality. So what is, how do you overcome that? What's your general approach to hiring and maintaining the team that you have? How do you go about doing that? How do you make sure that you've got those right people?
So having built some of the most renowned acceleration program, I have to say that a lot of the people I work with usually already know me. So the way I go around it is working with or connecting with people I've worked with before who actually know my style and know my ethics. That could be recruitment agencies, that could be the connections I've built, as I said, over the past 25 years. And then, the 100,000 follower network, which actually help find individuals which might be a good fit for the organization. That is phase one. Then it's, it's about having good framework to actually help people coming into the team understand who we are about, what our values and beliefs and goals and objectives, and making sure they fit within it. Usually everybody in my company goes through either 3 to 6 month probation, so they have plenty of time to actually demonstrate whether they're able to do the job. And then it's about regular communication and really being clear around the objectives. So people have KPIs, and the KPIs are already written in the contracts before even they join, so they have to agree with them from the get-go. And then we test that. And some people stay for sure, have great talent, but some people have to go, because at the end of the day, for me, my belief is employee versus founder mentality. People need to actually understand their accountabilities and get the job done.
Okay. And moving on to a completely different topic, really about your industry and the future. Are there any trends that's happening in your industry? Anything that you're excited about, looking forward to? Maybe you're already taking advantage of that, or things that may be coming into the future, technology or otherwise, in your particular sector.
I think when we think about finance or insurance, I think they are both affected in the same ways as other industries. So some of the top trends that I'm renowned to talk about is future of work, right? We have moved from working in offices to working remotely or hybrid. So what does it mean to actually have the right team and actually set the right objectives? But what does it also mean from terms of technology and collaborative activities? How do we change the way we work? How do we change the way we select technologies to make our team much more efficient, rather than just have what we call point solutions? So that is one of those big themes. From a technology viewpoint, I talk a lot about cyber, because when we move remotely, we end up seeing far more cyber risk, point solutions, and the fact that now we are not working in an office with VPN and really secure environment. We are moving that to the home. So businesses have to actually enable their teams in different ways from a technological viewpoint to protect their entity and their environment. So, protect them from malware, phishing attacks, and so on and so forth, which usually are human created, right? The reason why a hacker goes into a company is because a human has made a mistake. So cyber will be my second theme. But as we have seen, artificial intelligence, generative AI, and the theme which we call embedded AI. So orchestrating all the technology around artificial intelligence, which are going to impact our business, is also a major theme for my industry, which is probably one of the top that we need to talk about. As a result, we have to talk about cloud and quantum computing. Lastly, everything comes together as long as we have purposeful organizations. So another theme which is much more prevalent in Europe than in the United States at this stage, but hopefully will become very relevant in the United States too, is sustainability. I'm talking beyond ESG, environmental, social, and governance structure. I'm talking about sustainability in the sense that we are affected by climate change, and technology can actually help business predict and prevent the risk. I'm talking about product and services for underserved markets. So we call that social innovation. So how do we identify the new products and the new services we need to design to start addressing the need of organizations and individuals who are not served today effectively? Think about people of colors or people with gender diversity. It could also be the new economies of the gig economy worker or creator economy. All these needs services, all these needs insurance products as well to protect themselves. And those are not yet available. So great opportunity to start designing new service, new products, which fulfill the need of new customer segments.
Sure, sure. So lots happening and lots of exciting stuff. And so what does the future hold for you and your particular business, AlchemyCrew? What is, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years? Where would you like to see yourself?
Well, we are a boutique. Some people will say agency, but we are a boutique venturing unit. I have no intent to work with all the companies of the world, but I do work with some of the top organizations to deliver amazing work for them to enable not only one business unit, but multiple business units across multiple countries to actually be ahead of the curve. The key motto for us is about de-risking corporate venturing, de-risking how organizations collaborate with small and big ventures and select the best one to help them change their business model, but mostly continue to be relevant for their clientele. So that is one part of the equation. But people who know me know that I have this strategy of 3. I will actually probably continue being a public speaker and being on big stage. Second, I will still be influential voice in my market. And third, build AlchemyCrew. So the rule of 3 for me. And maybe write a book. God knows. We'll see what next year's bring.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. So, yeah, thank you very much for all those great shares. I think there was a lot of stuff for all entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, and those who are already in business to take away. Thank you for all your contribution. Really appreciate the time you've taken today out of your busy schedule to talk to us, and wish you all the best for for the future and all the ventures as you just mentioned. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
so much.
Sabine.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Bye bye now.